welcome again to Art Atrium. First of all, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land, the Ichigo and Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, and pay respect to elders past, present, and emerging. So, obviously, Kaye's been one of our artists for a very long time as well, and this is solo exhibition number 3 or 4? 4, yeah, it's been out, yeah. And as you know, this fantastic gallery space actually belongs to Kaye, and so we're very fortunate to have our exhibitions here, so we're always grateful for her letting us use this space for that purpose. And this new body of work, she's been working on it for quite a long time. I mean, the last solo exhibition is 2 years ago, and Kaye's a solicitor as well as an artist, and she's always very conscious of social justice. And this new body of work basically embodies all of that, you know, and also utilizing her artistic talent. She does work in various different mediums, you know, like, I mean, this is a new work, you know, like it's the first time we actually utilize the full height of our gallery. And she has little works as well, sort of all on canvas, but she's also an expert in doing fresco. So quite a variety, and then you have to, I mean, she will introduce some of the work, but you have to look into that extinction void, you know, look down the extinction void, and you'll be surprised at what comes out from that. But to open the exhibition, good friend of mine, Craig Foster, I knew him initially as a soccer player. He's a captain of the Socceroos, and then he's a commentator on SBS on anything soccer. But then he evolves. He becomes a human rights activist, you know, Amnesty International Refugees Ambassador. And so right now, we, you know, like he's still active in doing a lot of those things. And I thought when Kaye and I were talking about who would be a good person to open the exhibition, we thought that, you know, Craig would be fantastic because of what he sort of like, you know, is active on and so on. So I'd like you all to put your hands together to welcome Craig Foster.
Before about Kaye, I commend this work to you, and particularly for the timely nature, Kaye, of what you've put together here. Because, as we all know, in the world at the moment, and increasingly in Australia, perhaps yesterday was a slight pushback in the right direction, but there is no question that today, in much of the world and even here, wrong is right, and down is certainly up, and just or justice is false, and east is west, and south is north, and war is fine, and things are very much upside down. And art is insidious, and questioning is wrong. And this is entirely about questioning. This wall here is very important. It goes back to one of the most important literary works of our life, and for many of the younger people in the room, I would hope that you also have had the pleasure and the necessity of studying George Orwell's 1984. But just to look at this wall here, again, it reminds us that 1984 is 2025. It was 2024 when this started, but certainly 2025. Stamping on a human face forever. Well, there's been plenty of faces who've been stamped on here in recent years. Many of them fled persecution and arrived in Australia, and they were stamped on. Ours is founded on hatred, a world of fear and treachery. Progress in our world will be progress towards more pain, self-abasement. There will be no love. When we are omnipotent, we shall have no more need of science. And we saw just in recent weeks alone the attacks on truth, the attacks on facts, that nothing is clear anymore, that education is unnecessary, science is wrong, and the emperor cannot be challenged. It's such a vitally important work at this point of time. And in the corner here, Kaye, your work on the fascist playbook is so critical because these are methods of mind control, or what Orwell called the thought police, are so common. We only have to look back through history to see that this happens time and time and time again. I saw an interview yesterday with Trump, and he was being questioned around some of the issues on immigration and other aspects. And it was chilling and very telling because as the journalist, as should be their role, challenged the power, challenged the emperor, very quickly the emperor turned to attacking the journalist. Some of you might have seen it. It's deeply, deeply chilling because what he said outwardly, one of supposedly the most important leaders in the world, in inverted commas, he said, rather than answer the question, he started to say, oh, well, now you're going in the wrong direction. And then he said, I'm paraphrasing, but, oh, I liked you. I chose you. Don't forget you've been allowed to be here. I allowed you into the White House here to do this interview. And now you're breaking the rules, effectively, is what he said. Because you're now challenging me, but that's not why you're here. So you continue to challenge, you'll be gone. And we see that here in human rights advocacy very much at the moment. You say what the government doesn't like or the media doesn't like, and you're out. You're excommunicated. You're gone. In fact, today, often, you're out of a role. You're out of a job. Your reputation is forfeit. And that's a place where Australia never should be. The question around this is, if you, Kaye, did this brilliant installation in the US right now, forget about Orban and others, what would happen to you? And would it be allowed? And further, the question for all Australians should be, well, is this a future that we want? Do we want to see those interviews here or no? And if not, what are we going to do? Perhaps a step was taken yesterday. I was talking to Simon just before. We are sports fans and football fans. There's a tournament coming up next year in the US. It's called the FIFA World Cup. And he asked, are you going to go? Because many people now are reconsidering whether they not only want to go, but actually whether they'll be allowed in. I'm not sure I will, but I said I would love to go to be able to tell that story. There's a good chance you get thrown out. But even getting in now is difficult because like 84, now it's about all of your history. Now the AI is searching your Facebook. Now the AI is searching your Instagram. And if you said one word wrong many, many years ago, then you're anti. Instead of being up, you're down. Instead of being east, you're west. And you're out. And Simon said, well, I might have to go through my social media and have a look at what I've said in the past, didn't you?
Yep.
That's exactly right. Imagine in 2025, that is the statement that we're having to make. Great artists and great art challenges society, it certainly challenges power, and it gets us to reconsider the world through a different lens. That's what this is, Kaye. Your timing is perfect. Thank you so much, and I commend it to you.
It might or might not work. I'll just talk about the circumstances of how it was working. Okay. So testing. This is Big Brother. Okay. So the work of this show has been a labour of need. It was my way of coping with today's overwhelming geopolitical and ecological challenges. I'm particularly focused on how we seem to be sleepwalking towards the extinction of living organisms, including organisms of democracy and freedom, and of the world as we know it. Yet I'm hopeful, hence this garden of hope. Yesterday showed that we can hold elections where every citizen can vote and have their vote respected, which is not the case in the majority of the world. I had the good fortune also a few days ago of attending a workshop on civics organised by Simon and the Chinese Australian Forum. I think that we would all benefit from such courses, and it should be a course that's taught at high school. It reminded me that democracy is precious and must not be taken for granted. Democracy means rule by the people, not by the leaders. The ideals of democracy are respect, tolerance, equity, fairness, freedom, and justice for everyone. It gives you the right to speak your mind, to be treated equally before the law, to have an independent media, and importantly, to hold elected leaders accountable, all without the fear of retribution, imprisonment, torture, or execution. So, while you have elected your leaders, the work of protecting democracy is ongoing. It does not just finish with voting if you don't want it to. There are many, many things that you can do to empower yourself and your community to achieve reforms, including supporting not-for-profit organisations, donating to causes, running for local, state or federal government, volunteering, signing petitions, protesting, participating in commissions, attending parliament, improving media literacy, staying informed and aware of ways that people manipulate minds and public opinion. The tabs on these walls are my attempt at working out some of that. And as the Liberty's Angel shows with her finger in the ripple, even small acts of kindness, listening, tolerating, and supporting others to fight the fight or to resist abuses of power have a ripple effect and can be very powerful. So now this feels weird, like I'm in an epistemological and ontological dilemma. I'm here in my own world, occupying the same space as you and talking to you, yet I cannot see what you see. So I'm going to say my thank yous looking at you. Okay, thank you, Kaye, so much for coming to open this show. I've been a big admirer of your humanitarian work, and you're a great role model, and it means a lot to me that you opened this show. Next, I want to just talk about Simon and Tina. You both are inspiration. You've been patient, an amazing sounding board for my crazy ideas. I think I remember telling you, Simon, about my extinction window years before. I'm sure you're just like, oh, she's crazy, but it's actually come to fruition. You both listened, you observed, and provided such meaningful feedback. Tina, you have been an example of survival, if only people knew the adversity that you faced. I feel like we were partners in crime, helping each other along with our bodies of work. And I love your work so much, and I love sharing with you. And thank you for all your feedback and the journey that we had in creating our shows. Okay, Scott, James and Violet, I'm full of gratitude for your support. James and Violet sang for you today, and thank you so much for that. I couldn't have mounted the works in this scale without you, Scott, you know that. I loved working with you on this, even though we had to jostle over who would get to make the extinction globe. I was very excited. I ordered a 3D pen. It was going to be a new exercise, but Scott, the method man, monopolised it and won out. So he got to make that. Anyway, and last of all, thank you all for coming here physically. With most of us living so much of our lives and experiencing art and creativity through the digital screens of Netflix, TikTok and the Instagram world, I really do appreciate you turning up to experience some art in real life. whether it's a live performance, a gig, a play, a concert, an art show, a poetry recital, a book reading, it's really important, and I think it just adds more dimension than just experiencing it through 3 by 4 centimetres square on the screen. So with that, thank you